The With Purpose podcast is not intended to treat or diagnose any medical condition. The With Purpose podcast discusses traumatic events, toxic relationships, and abuse. These topics may be triggering to some people. The content shared and stories told by With Purpose and its guests is for informational and entertainment purposes solely and is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, medical provider, or therapist. The use of any information that is shared on this podcast or its content that is shared is at the user's own risk. There is so much dating anxiety going on with everybody, it seems nowadays. Everybody they talk to, run into, they're so nervous that they're going to end up again in another toxic relationship, or worse, somebody that's incredibly narcissistic or has sociopathic tendencies. We used to never hear this terminology, and now all of a sudden we've all become apparently psychologists who knows everything about everything there is to know about everything. And now we are just doing our own diagnosis of people, and that's not really doing any of us any good. In today's episode, we are going to expose, in my opinion, one of the biggest and one of the most obvious red flags that can be handed to you, and it will tell you a lot about this person, whether or not they're actually trying to get to know you or whether they're trying to capture you. It'll give you a heads up as to, hey, this person's trying to take control, and there's a good possibility if you do this one thing, it will tell you that maybe you're heading into a toxic relationship. So in episode 4, that's right, we are still in the love bombing stage, or like what I like to call just the beginning stages period of any relationship. The very beginning parts of this is where we would like to stop the relationship if we think, you know what, they have checked off some really big warning signs. And in the beginning of the relationship, if we can learn to pick out these things right away, then we don't even have to get into the devalue stage. We don't even have to go through the trouble of it. I'm not saying this is going to 100% cure this, because these individuals tend to be very intelligent, and sometimes we just end up in places where we really didn't plan to, no matter how much we prepare for it. But hey, listen, I'm going to give you something that you can really hold on to and you can share with your friends. Share this episode. We pay so much attention to the love bombing and the compliments that we get, and whether this person wants to spend a lot of time with us, and all the flattery that comes with that first initial stage if this person truly is toxic and controlling. What I would like to focus more on, not so much the compliments and the ooh and the ah and meeting family and all this stuff that will happen in the love bombing stage. I want to focus more on, hey, what's the pace of this thing? Is this going a little bit too fast? Today's episode is going to give you that one tip that you can do that's going to expose a lot for you, and hopefully get that anxiety to come down, way down actually. So stay tuned, and we're going to just jump right in. Okay, so I told you that I was going to give you this tip. Well, before we start talking about what a toxic person or what love isn't, we have to understand what love is. I mean, I don't know if anybody else would agree, but I would say that if we can look at what love is, then we can start noticing the things that it isn't. I think what's been going on for so long, or at least it's picking up a trend, there's so much anxiety that people feel uncertain. They don't feel secure enough to go out dating. They don't even trust themselves. There's just been so much put out there that everyone is just a nervous wreck. Well, I'm never going to be able to find somebody that's going to value me or put me as a priority. And the first compliment we get, maybe this person just really likes you, but they might say something, maybe on the extreme side. And now all of a sudden we've classified them in this group and given them a personality disorder when we really don't even know them. And we're actually starting this trend where we're paying more attention to making the the good things into toxic behaviors. And I'm not saying that these things aren't important to pay attention to in this phase, the love bombing stage. We've all heard of it. I like to just kind of look at this as the stage before it gets really bad. So the beginning stages of dating period, there's a lot of things that we really need to pay attention to and just be aware of, but we don't need to just over criticize everyone we run into because they've given us a couple of compliments, and we've now turned this person that probably might have been just maybe a little bit insecure, has a different type of attachment style. Maybe they're a little anxious, maybe they're not a narcissist, maybe they just really, really like you. But we've got to start looking and peeling back the layers a lot more than just leaving it like, oh, you just got to pay attention to whether they said that they were my soulmate and wanting to take up a lot of my time. We need to start peeling back the layers a little bit more, because in my experience and in a lot of my friends' experience, and trust me, I have made some man, I have just made some really bad choices, really bad decisions. This is actually going to benefit anybody that watches the show or listens to the podcast, because I have done this over and over and over and over and over and over again. I know. So I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, but I can tell you firsthand a lot of the traits that I have ignored. So what I did is I didn't go back to school. I probably should have. The number of years and the amount of hours I put in studying this, that I have researched this to the point where I just got sick of researching it anymore. And the funny thing is that yes, I can validate the experts. I can validate the data and everything that they say that happens in these phases. I'd like to give you a different viewpoint, though. I would really want to give you a different way of looking at this, a different viewpoint from somebody who's been through it. Most people that have been through narcissistic abuse and really been through those very, very tough, challenging, very destructive, abusive relationships are not very willing to go in and share all the personal details that has happened. A lot of us go through a period of shame. We feel guilty. We feel, at least I did. I felt like, man, you're just not very smart. How do you keep doing this? So along with all this anxiety that's going on, I'd like to simplify this for you and for your friends or anybody that is single, or anybody in your community that needs it. Share this episode so people can see the viewpoint of somebody who actually can tell you, yes, these things do happen, and this is what happened to me. I can definitely see the patterns in every relationship, and this beginning stage is so critical. If you can stop this in the beginning stages before it takes off, and before you invest all this time and get into the devalue stage, then you've saved yourself a lot of trouble. The idea is to stop it before it starts. We don't want to be talking about the devalue stage, which we're going to get into, but I want to focus a lot of time, and I want to be very clear that there are things that you can pay attention to. You don't have to go out there feeling so insecure and feeling like you're not going to be able to pick up these things. The sad truth is, and I'm just going to admit this for myself, the sad truth is I have ignored the signs. The sad truth is I knew when I heard something, or something happened in the relationship, or I was pressured into doing things that really just didn't align with my morals and values, and I always got myself in trouble. There was always indications. And so that's what today's episode is going to do. It's going to break down these, and it's going to simplify a couple different things for you that you can watch out for, pay attention to. Not to say that it's going to turn toxic, but I'm just telling you, if the conditions are right. So anyway, so let's just jump right in there. I'm going to start with the Bible verse, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4. So a lot of us has heard of this, right? Out of all the words that could have been used to describe what love is, I don't know about you guys, but This just kind of blew me backwards. I honestly, I couldn't believe it when I was reading this. And I've heard this so many times, right? It's not like I was born yesterday. But this is very interesting to me. And I know some of you are going to be like, oh my goodness, I never even thought of it that way. So to understand what love isn't, we have to jump right into figuring out and understanding what love is. So I'm going to go to this verse, and here we are. Love is patient. What is the beginning stage like of a toxic relationship? Steadfast, rapid fire, incredibly quick. Everything just moves suddenly. It is the pace. I mean, love is patient, right? What is patient in a toxic relationship? What part of the love bombing stage shows or exhibits any sort of patient behavior from this individual? And it doesn't matter who it is. So whether you're a man out there dating, a woman out there dating, I know that you need to pay attention to all the future faking and, you're my soulmate and like all that kind of good stuff. I get it. It's important. You need to pay attention to that too, because what we need to do here is start building a story. And all toxic relationships have patterns. There's cycles of abuse. So you hear people say, well, he doesn't say that all the time, or she doesn't do that all the time. Well, no, if they did it every single day, you'd be able to pick up on it more, but you need to start paying more attention to patterns of behavior because it always makes a full circle. So patience is the one thing that you want to focus on. Is this person patient? And this is going to blow your mind. But here's the thing. Love is patient, and the second, love is kind. It's the exact opposite of what a toxic relationship. The first phase, pay attention to the pace. What is the pace of this thing? Are they pressuring you to do things and commit to things that you are just not ready for? In the second phase of a toxic relationship is the devalue stage. Well, love is patient, love is kind. So I just found it, maybe I'm just, a goober, but seriously, like the very first two adjectives that describe what love is opposite of the first two stages of a toxic relationship. Me personally, I don't think that's a coincidence. So in the very get-go, somebody that's going to want to try to control you, and this is just the thing that you're just going to have to pay more attention to. You're going to have to start thinking, hey, if I wanted to control somebody, how would I do that? What tactics would I use if I wanted to completely gain control of another individual? I know you don't think like that, but that's how these people think. So in order to do that, they are going to move this thing at a rapid pace. They need to get you, number one, jot this down. They need to get you emotionally invested in them. Why would somebody want to get you emotionally invested if they wanted to control you? Well, first of all, they're terrified that you're going to leave them. They cannot be abandoned. So somebody who exhibits, a toxic personality, I hate using the word narcissism and all that kind of stuff. I just think it's well overused. But so if you are in this relationship and this person wants to take control of you, they want to get you emotionally invested very quick. And so they're going to start using these tactics. And the one thing they're going to start doing is going to start trying to take a lot of your time. So they're going to invest a lot of time in you. And so you're going to start, this is where it gets so confusing. This is why I don't want you to pay so much attention to like the good things or, things that are flattery or whatnot. I want you to pay more attention to your resistance to how fast this relationship is going. That one thing is the one thing you can do in the very beginning that will tell you a whole lot. Because guess what? If they want to move this relationship forward to the point where you would be embarrassed to leave them, they want to get you in that position. I know that sounds out there, but just hear me out for a second. They want you so emotionally invested, then a big reason of that is that they don't want you to leave. They want you to be so sucked in that, oh my goodness, I can't leave this person, or hey, they want you to change your relationship status on social media and you've only known them a week and they start, I really think that you're the person I want to be with and I really want to continue this. Hey, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I see nothing wrong with someone saying that they want to be in a committed relationship, but changing your status to in a relationship with John Doe and you met him 4 days ago, you don't know this person at all. Why would they want you to change your relationship status? Think about it. How humiliating. I mean, I know I've done this. Now they've got you sucked in. You've admitted to all your friends publicly, hey, I'm in a relationship with John Doe or Sally, whichever it is. And all of a sudden, let's say you don't like this person or they start exhibiting behaviors and values and you start realizing this really isn't the person for you. How embarrassing is that to change that up again on social media, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I just changed that thing like last week and people are going to be like, what is going on with Amy, She just keeps changing her relationship, single, not single, single, not single. So let's not do that. So I'm going to help you guys out here. Don't do that. Just don't do it. So if you want to figure out whether this person is genuinely interested in getting to know you and has patience, they need to be patient with how this thing is moving. If it's being forced in a way that it's going so fast that you're uncomfortable, speak up. Don't just go along with it. Don't betray yourself and don't sweep it under the rug because this is going to tell you so much. I mean, what I'm giving you here is something that where you can feel like you just hold so much more control and power over yourself where you won't betray yourself. So if you say something like, you know what, I'm just, I will only date you and I'll commit to that if that's what you want to do, then we'll do this. But if you tell them that you're just not ready to go and change your social status right now, watch the reaction. Watch this reaction. Because if this is toxic, every single solitary time, every time, I really can't think of one really bad relationship that I've ended up in that, that didn't start out with them wanting to just, commit to you 100% right off the bat. And they want everybody to know it. And so if you resist that, I wish I would have done this, but if you resist that, pay attention to how they respond to any pushback or any adversity that you give them. How much free will is this person allowing you to have? That'll be a good gauge to how controlling they are. How much free will are they willing to give you? God, He is love, and He loves us more than anybody could possibly imagine on this planet. And He Himself gives us free will and gives us the choice to love Him or to not. So that is the greatest of all love. So pay attention to how much free will this person's willing to give you. And one of two things is going to happen here. If they genuinely care about you and they genuinely want to get to know you, remember, we're talking about somebody that's in like the first full week of dating, right? If you have solely committed to this person, which, look, I'm not saying that it's not going to be great. I'm just saying that if you're somebody that's landed in toxic relationships, definitely reel in the reins and just take your time with this. So, I wouldn't recommend jumping right into it because I've done this over and over and it never ended up good. So if they're able to understand and they show you patience and they give you a place of safety and they don't make you feel ashamed or pressure you, that's a really good sign. But let's look at the other part of it. So you don't want to change your status and you've told this person, you know what, I'm just not ready for that. What's going to happen if they're toxic is they're not going to like that very much. They're trying to gain control of you. How are they supposed to gain control of you if they can't get you that emotionally invested and committed right off the bat? They're trying to, it almost feels like being hunted. So right off the bat, if you are telling them, no, I'm not ready for this, if they're toxic, then more chances than not, this is going to tell you, Maybe I should cash out. Pay attention. Somebody that cares for you is going to respond. Somebody that doesn't, and somebody that's insecure, because that's what all toxic relationships are based on, is this weak foundation of insecurity, guilt, and shame. If they're insecure about it, they are not going to like that at all. So, things like changing your social media status, things like committing way too early or you're not ready to do that, moving in together. Can't make this stuff up. So, or getting married. I mean, there's a whole list of things that could happen in the very beginning stages that are not typical of a normal dating situation where you're just trying to get to know somebody. So pay attention to the pace of this relationship and pay more attention to what is their response or reaction if you give them any resistance. Okay, that is going to tell you so much in the very beginning. There's so many people that ask me, it's probably the number one question I get, are there signs in the very, very beginning? Like, are there truly signs? Yes, give them pushback. What I used to do, oh, it's fine. I just swept it under the rug and I betrayed myself. And as long as you're going along with everything that they're wanting you to do, you're not going to find this out. The only way to find out in the very beginning stages is if you resist something that they're wanting you to do. So if you give them any pushback or set any boundaries and they do not respond in a healthy manner, then that tells you right from the get-go. So it's just like, I don't know, for me, I feel like I just have gained so much more confidence in dating because now I've recognized this sign and I don't ignore it anymore. All right, what's going to happen if you do? What is going to happen if, let's say, they want you to move in and you are not ready for this? How are they going to respond? There's a couple different things that they will do in the love bombing stage or beginning stages. If this is toxic, there's a couple different reactions that you might get from this. So if they really want control of you bad enough, where they are just determined that you are going to be theirs, then they are going to start out with all the tactics and all the different scenarios, and they are going to get in their bag of tricks and they are going to start one by one. They're going to start putting pressure on you to be on their side of this. And let me tell you what that could look like. Let's see, so-and-so wants you to move in and you're like, you know what, we just met each other like a month ago or 2 weeks ago or what have you, and I'm just not ready to take that step yet. So what might happen is they're going to start taking a little bit, they're going to take jabs at you. They might use coercion. They might use guilt and shame. They're going to just dig in their bag of tricks and they're going to start pulling out every weapon they can to try to get you to change your mind. And some of them might be a little bit more harsh than others, but it might look something like, well, I thought that you really, really liked me. I mean, I thought that we had a good thing going here. And if you really wanted if you wanted a real woman, then you would move in with me. Or if you really wanted to be with me, then you would change your social media status. If you weren't so shy, if you didn't have so many men following you on social media, if you were smart, then you would definitely start packing your bags. They will start to say and do things, and they're right here. If you don't catch it from the get-go and they're aggravated, this is telling you a whole heck of a lot right here. They're already putting you down. They're already pressuring you. They're giving you zero patience. You see where this shows up again and again, zero patience. Patience is the biggest thing you need to pay attention to right from the get-go. And this is the best news, right? Like it is such great news that now you're like, oh my goodness, for me, it was like, I kind of knew that, but when it was put right in front of me, it was like, oh my gosh, this has been in front of me the whole time. I don't even know how I didn't see this. So pay attention to their response to this. And there's a couple different things that might happen here. When you're moving forward with this, they are either going to continue these tactics and they're going to continue to try to get you to be on their side of this. they may just continue to put you down. And then you're going to land yourself in devalue stage very quick. Or they're going to realize right off the bat, if you're lucky, they're going to realize right off the bat, if this is a toxic person, trust me, consider this a gift. They might walk, and let them walk. Let them walk right out there and kick rocks. Because if you don't want to move in with somebody, or you don't want to commit, or you don't want them meeting your family on day 4, or anything that you're uncomfortable with, any physical activity, anything. If this person is not right off the bat, you don't even know this person, and they're putting their best foot forward. This is the best they got. They are literally showing you who they are. So if you give them pushback and they decide after a couple different trial runs that there's no way that you're just going to give in to them, and they just don't feel like it's worth their time anymore because, they're controlling and they need somebody to control, and they've clearly figured out that you're not that person, and they just walk, let them walk right out the door, cash out, consider it a blessing. Let it go. Just let them go, because truly that is a blessing. If you were to continue this into the other stages, trust me, you cannot be drugged through the mud and be clean when you get through the end of that path. You can't do it. You are either going to have to be recovered from all this abuse, rescued, or worse. So if they walk, let them walk. It doesn't matter the excuse they give you. That goes for anything. If anybody walks away from you or puts themselves in a position to lose you and it doesn't bother them, let them go. So I hope this episode really helped you a lot. It's one of those things where I feel that everybody can benefit from this. Everybody can benefit from the beginning stages of dating. And I'm telling you, just looking at it from this angle is, for me, it's such a relief. And it's a relief to anybody else going, oh my gosh, I had so much anxiety, go back out there. I tend to fall in this scenario where I end up with toxic people in my life. And so hopefully this tip helps you to pay attention to the patience, pay attention to the pace of the relationship, and more importantly, pay attention to how much free will they're willing to give you. All these things right from the get-go. If they're criticizing you for wanting to set boundaries and they react with frustration and irritation, and they just won't let it go, this person is not patient. Somebody that sees value in something doesn't just jump right in. You don't do that. So I hope this helps. Share this episode, share the podcast. My goal is to give you everything authentic that I possibly can. I want this to help as many people as it possibly can, so we can stop focusing so much on the psychology terms out there and just going back to the basics and simplifying these things for you. And yes, I'm going to get to the devalue stage soon enough, but I really want to make sure that I do this justice and I give you things that you may not have heard of. And hopefully you will have, listen to this and think, what, I really didn't think of it in that manner. And hopefully you can put this to use in the future. So happy dating. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll catch you guys next time. See you later. Bye-bye.